We're all pretty used to AI that can chat with us, but the whole game is changing and fast. We're now talking about AI that doesn't just talk, it acts. This is opening up this incredible world of possibilities, but, you guessed it, a whole new world of risks too. And honestly, for anyone in tech, security, or a leadership role, getting a handle on this new reality, it's becoming absolutely non-negotiable.
So let's start with that big question right there. What really happens when the AI you're talking to can also click buttons for you, book your appointments, or go in and update your company's records? Suddenly, the biggest risk isn't just about what the AI thinks or says anymore. It's about what it does. And this is what we call Agentic AI. It's not just a chatbot, it's a doer. It's specifically designed to perform tasks out there in the digital world all on your behalf. Now that's incredibly powerful, for sure, but it comes with a massive catch, especially when these doers are running around without any kind of oversight. So here's our flight plan for this explainer. We're going to start with this idea of AI that acts, then dive right into the really critical problem of shadow AI. From there, we'll look at a solution. Think of it like air traffic control. See how it works in the real world, and then wrap up with how we build real, actual trust in these systems.
Okay, let's get right into the core of the problem. Agentic AI is this amazing new tool, but it brings along a seriously hidden risk. And that risk is shadow AI.
So what in the world is shadow AI? Well, it's all the unofficial AI that your teams are creating to make their jobs easier. A little script here, a new model there, maybe an agent that's wired up to some software tool. It always starts with good intentions, but it's built with no tickets, no approvals, and absolutely zero paper trail. It's basically the digital version of a super well-meaning intern quietly building a production app on their lunch break.
And honestly, this analogy just hits the nail on the head. An unmanaged AI is just like a new puppy that nobody knows about. There's no leash, there are no rules, and all the doors are just left wide open. And just like that puppy, this hidden tech can run wild and cause a whole lot of damage.
And this really breaks down into 5 key dangers. First up, it's just hard to see. If you don't even know it exists, how can you possibly protect it? Second, it makes it way too easy to leak sensitive data. Third, it creates these huge compliance headaches, because you can't show auditors your work if you have no idea what work was even done. Fourth, it often has way too much access. And finally, when it breaks, and it will, the incidents are just messy and so hard to clean up.
So let's zoom in on that too much access problem for a second. It's like asking a friend to water a single plant, but you give them the keys to your entire house to do it. If something goes wrong, they now have access to everything. The key takeaway here, the big one, is to always grant the absolute minimum level of access required to get the job done.
Okay, so how on earth do you manage this chaos? Well, you need a single, unified view. The best way to think about it is like air traffic control for all your AI. You need one cockpit, one radar that gives you this living, breathing picture of every single move an agent makes, especially the ones that weren't scheduled. And you get there through this continuous loop. It's a cycle. First, you have to discover every single AI agent, including all those shadow ones. Then you assess them for any risks. Next, you govern them with really clear policies. You secure their actions while they're running, and finally you audit everything they do. And this isn't some one-time checklist, right? It's a constant, never-ending cycle.
The ultimate goal here really is a fundamental shift in how we think about this. We've got to move away from these scattered manual checklists and toward a single automated control plane where you can see, manage, and prove everything your agentic AI is doing.
Okay, so that's the theory. But let's see what this actually looks like in the real world. We're going to check out 2 examples, one in healthcare and one in the public sector.
First up, healthcare. I want you to picture a visit to the clinic where the doctor has their full, undivided attention on you, the patient, and they're not frantically typing away into a computer. The conversation is totally natural, you feel heard, and there's no screen acting like a wall between you.
So behind the scenes, there's a governed AI agent hard at work, and it's not just transcribing, it is actively safeguarding the whole process.
It's taking accurate notes, yeah, but it's also flagging anything that's uncertain for a human to review. So for instance, if it hears the doctor say 1,000 milligrams, but your patient chart clearly specifies 500 milligrams, it will immediately flag that critical difference. No prescription gets ordered without a human explicitly approving it. And, just as important, every connected tool has the absolute minimum access it needs. The scheduling app can book an appointment, but it can never see sensitive billing or your medical history. And every single action is logged, creating a fully auditable record of your care.
All right, now for our second use case, citizen services. Imagine it's a Saturday morning, and you need to file your state taxes and renew your fishing license. But instead of navigating a bunch of confusing government websites, you just have one simple conversation with a single AI assistant that does it all.
So how does this stay safe and trustworthy? Well, first, the AI asks for your explicit consent to access only the specific records it needs and nothing more. Then it transparently shows you exactly where it got its information, so you're never left in the dark. It also flags anything that looks unusual in the pre-filled forms for your review, like a sudden change in income. And when it's time to pay, it makes these super secure calls using minimal data to protect your financial info. And just like in the healthcare example, it creates a full, undeniable audit trail of every single action taken on your behalf.
So let's bring it all together on this path to trust. The big idea here is that having this kind of control doesn't actually mean slowing down. In fact, it's what lets you move from flying blind in the fog to flying fast with total confidence. Okay, the first principle is simple, but it's a big one. Visibility is not optional, it's oxygen. You absolutely have to be able to see everything, especially those shadow AI tools that were never officially approved. Without that visibility, you can't protect a thing. The second principle is just as vital. Least privilege is your seatbelt. Every single AI agent gets only the keys it absolutely needs and nothing more. That way, when something inevitably fails, this ensures the damage stays small, contained, and fixable.
And finally, remember that evidence beats promises every single time. If you can show precisely what data was used, which rules were applied, and who gave the final approval, then audits take minutes, not months. This is how you really build and maintain trust.
Now, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but here's the key takeaway. The safest way to scale your AI is also the fastest way. When you unify how you see and control risk, you don't slow down innovation. You actually accelerate it, because you're building everything on a foundation of safety and trust.
I'll leave you with this one last thought. Your AI is about to click a button, move some data, maybe even spend some money. Can you, right now, prove what it's about to do and what it has already done? Answering that question? Well, that's the key to unlocking the true power of agentic AI.